mutated non-small cell lung cancer. So we all know that lung cancer is worldwide the most commonly diagnosed cancer and is one of the leading cause of cancer-related death, according to counting to 18.4% of the total cancer-related death. Now, what are the first-line options available to us? So we all know that we have first-generation TKI, we have second-generation TKI, we have option of using sequential first generation, second generation, followed by third generation TKI, that is osimertinib, or we can start with third generation TKI osimertinib. There is also option of combination of first generation TKI with either chemo or biological therapy. In ASCO 2020, there is also data for combination of osimertinib and gefitinib, and there is also data of combination of a TKI with radiation, SBRT. So we'll be discussing all these options one by one, and at the end of my presentation, I hope that we'll be able to decide which one is the best option. So coming to the third generation TKI, so as per the NCCN guidelines, we know that there are 5 TKIs and all are approved as first line: osimertinib, erlotinib, afatinib, gefitinib, dacometinib. Now, 1 month prior, the options of combination of erlotinib with Cyremza combination has also been approved by FDA based on the RELAY trial, and combination of erlotinib and bevacizumab has also been put under category 2B. So apart from the 5 TKI, we have other options in the NCCN guidelines which states combination of erlotinib with either Cyremza or bevacizumab. So coming to the various three generation TKIs, so first generation TKI comprises erlotinib and gefitinib. So it causes reversible binding to the EGFR binding site and causes reversible inhibition. Second generation includes afatinib and dacometinib. So this causes irreversible inhibition of EGFR sensitizing mutations. Third generation is osimertinib, which also causes irreversible inhibition, and along with that, it also works in T790M resistance mutation. So osimertinib is the third generation irreversible. It is also CNS active EGFR TKI, which is developed to selectively target both EGFR sensitizing and EGFR T790M resistance mutations. So we already know about the FLORA trial. I'll just briefly tell you about the FLORA trial. It was a phase 3 study to assess the safety and efficacy of osimertinib versus the other first-line standard TKI. So the patients were randomized between osimertinib and either gefitinib or erlotinib, and the response was checked after 6 weeks. The primary endpoint was PFS, and the secondary endpoint was objective response rates, duration of response, and overall survival. So we know that the PFS in the graph, we can see that in the Kaplan-Meier graph, that the PFS in the FLORA trial was 18.9 months versus 10.2 months as compared to the first generation TKI with a hazard ratio of 0.46. So this PFS later on translated to survival benefit. So we can see from this graph is that osimertinib had a median overall survival of 38.6 months as compared to 31.8 months in the comparator arm with a hazard ratio of 0.799, and the p value was significant. So osimertinib patients, they were more likely to be alive at 2-year and 3rd-year landmarks. At the end of 3 years, around 44 patients were taking osimertinib. So 28 patients were taking osimertinib at the end of 3 years or 36 months. So time to first subsequent treatment was 25.5 months in osimertinib as compared to 13.7 months in the first line TKI. That is, after 25.5 months, the treatment was changed to a second line therapy. So this is a very good graph which is showing comparing all the 3 generations of TKI and has included all the landmark trials. And in this graph, you can see that all the PFS of erlotinib, gefitinib, afatinib, dacometinib, and osimertinib, you can see that FLORA trial, the PFS is maximum with osimertinib 18.9 months, followed by dacometinib in the ARCHER trial of 14.7 months. First generation and second generation TKI, the PFS is close to around 12 to 14 months. So the efficacy of osimertinib in this forest graph was seen across all the clinical subgroups. The important thing to note that the CNS mets, whether the patient had CNS mets or whether the patient did not have CNS mets, osimertinib led to increase in overall survival. And the survival was seen in either male, female, whether the patient was smoker or not, and with how the EGFR mutation was tested, that did not matter. So osimertinib's PFS benefit was clearly maintained consistently across all the subgroups. Now coming to the first generation TKI, this is the Indian data which also includes TMH data. So we can see that the overall survival with first generation TKI is around 18 months to 21 months. This is the Indian context that we are talking about. So second generation TKI followed by osimertinib. So that is the sequential that we often practice in our clinical practice. So the Lux Lung 7 and the Archer 1050. So in the Lux Lung 7, afatinib was compared to gefitinib. Although afatinib had some survival benefit, but that was not statistically significant. And in the Archer 1050 trial, dacometinib was compared to gefitinib. The median OS was 34 months to 26.8 months. But the overall response rate was not statistically significant in this trial, hence formal statistical hypothesis that was required for testing for overall survival was not concluded. So these are the separation curves of the three trials, Lux Lung 7, Archer 1050 and Flora. So in this graph, you can see that in the Lux Lung 7, the benefit of afatinib was seen after 12 months, and in the Archer 1050, you can see that the benefit came after 6 months. But in the Flora, the benefit was present from the very beginning. You can see how beautifully the graph separates from the very beginning as compared to the standard first line TKI. So the other next option is the combination of chemotherapy or biological combination with first generation TKI. So this was a phase 2 study, JO25567, that combined ablotinib with bevacizumab. So there was no overall survival benefit with this study. So based on this study, another phase 3 study was conducted, which was called NEG026, which combined ablotinib with bevacizumab. This was presented in ASCO this year. So the PFS benefit was definitely there, around 16.9 months versus 13.3 months. But this did not converted to the survival benefit. That was around 50.7 versus 46.2, but that was not statistically significant. The other study was the Relay study, based on which the FDA approved this combination erlotinib versus Cyramza. So the PFS was 19.4 months versus 12.4 months. The survival data is still not mature, and this study excluded patients with CNS mets and also included patients who were mostly PS0 to PS1. And there were more toxicities in this combination arms. So other study combining chemo with TKI one is the TMH study and the other is the Japanese study. So both these studies found overall survival benefit after combining with chemo. In the Japanese study, the PFS was 20.9 months and the OS was 52.2 months. However, this was a single country data and there was significantly more toxicity in the chemotherapy arm. The TMH data was also compared gefitinib plus PEM plus carbo versus gefitinib. There was an increase in overall survival, but the overall survival for gefitinib arm was just 18 months, unlike the previous studies of around 22 to 30 months. And also this combination led to increase in side effects. So there are other combination studies that are going on, like Flora 2, which is combining osimertinib plus chemotherapy. And there is also one study which is combining osimertinib plus bevacizumab. So we have to wait for that study to come. So now, which combination is better when combined with TKI, whether it's VEGF inhibitor or whether it's chemo? So based on these two tables, we can see that the overall survival in both these studies was around 50 months. And the PFS was around 16 months in both these studies, 16 to 20 months. So as such, it's very difficult to differentiate which one is the better option. But in terms of toxicity profile, the combination of TKI with the targeted therapy is better as compared to TKI with chemo, if we have to choose between one particular combination. So this study was also presented in ASCO 2020. It combined dual EGFR inhibitors. So it was a feasibility study. So the data is yet to come, but still there were some interesting results from the study. So they combined concurrent osimertinib plus gefitinib for first-line treatment. So the basis for this combination was that osimertinib will cover the T790M mutation, which is the resistance mechanism of gefitinib, and gefitinib will cover the one of the resistance mechanism of osimertinib, that is C797S mutation. So this was the rationale for this combination. So based on this feasibility study, it was found that around 30% of the patients, they were not able to continue gefitinib because of side effects. And you can see that the combination study resulted in really rapid plasma clearance of EGFR mutations. So in this combination, around 88% they were able to osimertinib arm. It's still not recommended to use combination TKI outside of a clinical trial. So the other interesting study that was presented in ASCO was a phase 3 SINDA study. So it combined the option of TKI with or without SBRT in patients who were oligometastatic non-small cell lung cancer. They included patients who had less than 5 mets present, so they considered them as oligometastatic. So they divided the patient between SBRT and first generation TKI versus TKI. The primary endpoint was PFS, secondary endpoint was overall survival. So in this study, they found a significant PFS benefit in the SBRT plus TKI arm in the oligometastatic patient. That was 20.2 months versus 12.5 months PFS benefit, and the overall survival was 25.5 months versus 17.4 months. But this study still, we cannot apply the study in clinical practice because how did they reach the 5 mets as a criteria for oligometastatic disease is still not known. And the brain mets patient were excluded. There is no data of what was the second line therapy that was offered. So how many sites of radiation can be given, whether it should be given only to the primary or to the metastatic sites. So coming to the EGFR positive patients with brain mets. So we all know that brain metastasis is very common presentation and a very common site of mets in patients who progress on TKI. So what's the data that we have? So for osimertinib, we have data that it helps in patients who develop CNS mets de novo or who develop CNS mets on progression. So the brain works as a sanctuary site after an initial response to TKI therapy. Isolated CNS progression is known to occur due to poor EGFR TKI penetration into CSF. We all know that the blood-brain barrier limits the drug penetration to subtherapeutic doses. So there is data that supports that third generation TKI, that is osimertinib, is able to penetrate blood-brain barrier as compared to the other first and second generation TKI, and it's found in higher concentration in the CSF also. So in FLORA trial, both the systemic and the CNS efficacy were analyzed, and osimertinib showed superior efficacy as compared to erlotinib and gefitinib in the CNS also. And as a matter of fact, osimertinib is the only EGFR TKI to report intracranial efficacy. So osimertinib demonstrated a superior PFS benefit regardless of the CNS disease status at study entry and versus the comparator, that is gefitinib and erlotinib. So in this graph, the left side graph, you can see that in patients with known or treated CNS mets, osimertinib had a PFS of 15.2 months versus 9.6 months, and in patients without known and treated CNS mets, the PFS was 19.1 versus 10.9 months, and both were significant. So even NCCN guidelines for therapy of newly diagnosed brain mets with non-small cell cancer in patients of EGFR positive non-small cell lung cancer recommends osimertinib as one of the first options to consider in patients who present with brain mets. So coming to the tolerability profile, so we all know that as compared to other TKI, osimertinib is relatively well tolerated with limited side effect profile, and the dose reduction rates in osimertinib is also low as compared to other TKI. So grade 3 side effects, these are there in around 42% as compared to 47% in the standard first line therapy. So adverse effect relating to leading to discontinuation is around 15% in the osimertinib arm as compared to 19% in the first and the second generation TKI arm. Grade 3 side effects were around 18% in the osimertinib and around 29% in the first and the second generation TKI. So the median duration of exposure was 20.7 months in the osimertinib versus around 11.5 months in the first and the second generation TKI. So the side effects with osimertinib includes diarrhea and around rashes and acne, nail effects, dry skin, stomatitis. They are much less as compared to the other first and the second generation TKI. So the second generation TKI, we know that afatinib has been known to cause some serious side effects like diarrhea and rashes, and dacomitinib can cause grade 3 skin rash, which leads to reduction in dosage. So in FLORA trial, the frequency of dose reduction was similar between the osimertinib and the standard of care. As compared to other Archer and Lux Lung 7, with the experimental arm had a more frequency of dose reduction as compared to the standard TKI. So why do we think that EGFR, that osimertinib should be given first line rather than we should give it in sequential? So the reason behind that is because we may miss out around 1/3 to 50% of the patients who may not be able to reach second line TKI. So that may be because you can see from this first graph that the PFS is around 18.9 months when we give osimertinib as first line. And if we give other first line TKI like gefitinib and erlotinib, it's 10.2 months. And if we are able to add so the weight average PFS is around 15 months with standard of care TKI in first line, followed by either chemotherapy or osimertinib, or they do not receive any treatment. So that is still less than what is the actual PFS in the FLORA trial, that is around 19 months. So as I discussed, that 1/3 of all the EGFR mutated patients treated with first or second generation TKI, they won't be able to receive osimertinib as second line. So there is one study, it's a retrospective study which compares which states that sequencing afatinib followed by osimertinib can help in improving the OS. Although this study shows that the survival can be more if we sequence the therapy, but if you look at the trial, there are many fallacies with this trial. First thing is that it is a retrospective study, and the patient selection criteria is also biased. So they excluded patients who were T790M negative or they were not tested after they progressed on first line. They excluded patients who died on first line. They excluded patients who could not receive second line therapy. And their endpoints were not standard. TTF was their endpoint, which cannot be compared to the PFS and includes treatment beyond disease progression. So that means even if the patient has progressed and is supposed it's still continuing on that medicine, then they have included that as the endpoint. And their overall survival was exploratory. So although this trial suggests that sequential afatinib followed by osimertinib may be an option, but this trial is a flawed trial because it's a retrospective trial and there are a lot of selection bias in this study. So how do we sequencing of EGFR TKIs? So starting with the prior generation EGFR TKIs and then treating those who develop EGFR T790M mutation with osimertinib. So as I discussed, this is not an optimal strategy because we may not be able to biopsy them for T790M mutation. We may have lost few patients who have progressed and died on first line therapy, and there may be around 30 to 40% patients who do not develop T790M mutation. So this is a compilation of all the trials comparing first-line TKIs and chemotherapy and targeted therapy combination and stating their overall survival. So you can see that in the FLORA trial, the overall survival is 38.6 months. So the other studies which have had more overall survival benefit is the combination arm with bevacizumab versus erlotinib and chemo plus gefitinib, but these survival did not translate into statistically significant benefit, and they are also associated with more side effects. So yes, definitely these are options: combination chemo, combination plus erlotinib plus targeted therapy. Definitely, the one trial which showed statistically significant benefit with least amount of toxicities is the FLORA trial. So these trials, they are maximizing the benefits of EGFR targeted therapies by combining them with other agents. So why still I feel that osimertinib should be the standard of care, because combination with other targeted therapy, although the data is there and it has some interesting signal that combining VEGF and EGFR can lead to PFS benefit, but it has not translated into overall survival benefit. And we don't know what TKI will be combined with VEGF inhibitor. There's an ongoing trial between osimertinib and bevacizumab. Maybe we'll get the answer from the study. And we don't know whether this combination is better than TKI versus chemo. And obviously, it leads to more side effects as compared to choosing single agent TKI. Now, combining with other EGFR inhibitors, so the data is still not mature. There is a hypothesis that combining may lead to delay in time of resistance, but still, it's still in preliminary stage. We need to wait for other results to come. Combination with radiation, that is an option in metastatic patients, but we don't know how to select out these patients, how to define metastatic disease. And the overall survival with these studies is still less than the overall survival what was seen in the FLORA study. So to conclude my presentation, so I feel that although all the TKIs are the first line option, the combination with the chemo and VEGF inhibitor, they are also the option, but still osimertinib would be my preference as first line in EGFR because of its CNS penetration, because of its tolerability, because of its mechanism of action, and it works on T790M mutation also, because of its proven consistent survival benefit. So it's the first line. It's the first time that an EGFR TKI has translated the PFS into a survival benefit. And nearly 30% of the patients in the FLORA study, they remained on osimertinib, and all the subgroups showed a positive benefit in favor of osimertinib, and the safety profile is also remained consistent with the previous data. So that would be my presentation. I thank you, all of you, for your time and support. So if you have any queries, then please ask.
Yeah, hey Rajit, very nice presentation. Just one small query. In FLORA, that there was a subgroup analysis of that Asian population, which shows that the benefit when compared to the standard was not so much. Would that influence your decision? Like, would you consider our Indian population like the Asian population, which in the trial was mostly the Southeast and those kind of the Japanese and everyone? Would our Indian population be there, and would you still offer osimertinib for our Indian patients?
See, Indians, I don't consider them as the same genetic makeup as Asian patients. So I would still consider osimertinib based on whatever data we have, because it has proven to be a relatively safe drug with a profound survival benefit. The other options that has proven to provide similar benefit as compared to osimertinib is the TMH data. We have combination of chemo plus gefitinib and erlotinib plus bevacizumab. But considering the side effect profile, so Indian patients, they do develop side effects also. So I would still consider osimertinib as first line option for Indian patients, maybe those patients who are not able to afford osimertinib, then maybe I would consider other TKI, probably combining with VEGF inhibitor if they require a rapid response. Suppose they have a pleural effusion or they are breathless, then I would combine EGFR inhibitor with a VEGF inhibitor if they are not able to afford osimertinib.
Okay, thank you.
Hi Rajit, Lingraj here.
Hi Lingraj.
Acha, in FLORA trial, how many of the patients who progressed on erlotinib or geftinib received osimertinib as a second line therapy?
So this was a crossover study. The patients were allowed to take osimertinib. I am not sure about how many patients took osimertinib. I think the company people will be able to give you the exact number. Ankur?
Yes, sir.
So how many patients in the
So we don't have
osimertinib after progression in the standard arm?
We don't have the after progression of osimertinib study. We don't have the exact number, sir. We have some percentage over there. Let me check, sir. And
I think it's there in the supplementary, which says that I think 45%
sir,
patients.
Yes, sir. In osimertinib answer, there is 279 patients, and they 68% patient receives first subsequent therapy, sir.
एक क्वेश्चन है कि जेफिटिनिब अर्लोटिनिब आर्म में कितनों ने osimertinib लिया था?
Okay, जेफिटिनिब and erlotinib arm. Okay. Then, sir, it is percentages.
I think it is
47%. Sir, 47%.
Yeah, 47%.
Yeah, 47%. Yeah, we don't have exact numbers, but this is the 47%.
Yeah, so the thing is, no, but what my question is that those who practice like lung and when the patient progress on geftinib or erlotinib, how many of the patients are eligible for osimertinib in your real world practice? Like you do biopsies or circulating tumor DNA.
So from my clinical experience, it's very difficult to do a repeat biopsy and to convince the patient to do a repeat biopsy. So after all that, around 25 to 30% they turn out to be T790 or taken positive.
Yeah. If you do circulating tumor DNA also, you add
yes,
that.
Yes.
After that also it is 25%.
Yes.
Yeah, but the data is 50%, no? I think 50% of them has
yes, the data is around 50 to 60% in fact.
But in real world practice, it is not more than 20.
I think that at least from my point of view, the patients, they don't have around 20, not more than 25 to 30. Maybe someone else can share their
And what's your opinion about chemo plus TKI of our TMS data? Where do you place it with osimertinib?
So chemo plus TKI I would prefer in those patients who are not able to afford osimertinib and who require rapid response. Suppose they have extensive disease like liver mets, pleural effusion, they are breathless, they come in and they turn out to be EGFR positive.
So you will not give to all patients?
So in these patients, I would who are not able to afford osimertinib and who have extensive disease like pleural effusion, liver mets, and they are breathless. So I would prefer to give them a combination so that they develop a rapid response. Their quality of life is improved and they get symptomatic benefit. So that is my second choice. So my first choice would be osimertinib only.
So you still give single agent TKI also if the patient doesn't have any significant symptom?
Yes. I would give single agent TKI or I would combine with bevacizumab because I would prefer single agent TKI because all these trials they have not translated into survival benefit except combination chemo trial. The targeted therapy trial they have not translated into OS benefit. So I would prefer.
I think the effect of osimertinib and chemo plus TKI is that 1/3 of the patient in osimertinib trial could not receive any further therapy. And if you see our TMH trial also, Jef plus chemo, 1/3 of the patient still could not receive any therapy when they progress, like when they are not fit to receive any second line therapy. So in both the FLORA trial and TMS trial, if you see 1/3 could not receive any further therapy. So I think the future will be like in the Flora 2, where people will combine osimertinib with chemotherapy, and probably that will be the first line in future, probably.
Probably a combination with a targeted therapy. That trial is also going on.
Yes. So thank you, Raj.
Thank you for joining. I think we are done with the presentation. So I think we all can leave, right? Ankur, you want to say something regarding your drug, your cost, and everything?
Yes, sir. Sir, one strip costing around 6.3 lakhs for 10 tablets, and we offer, sir, 2 strip free for your cash patient. So in total, sir, the 1 month costing is 1.63 to the patient.
Okay, 1 month cost is how much?
Sir, one strip costing 1.63 for 10 tablets, sir.
Okay.
And
2 strip free. 2 strips are
free for your cash patients, sir. Cash and Indian patients.
Okay, so that means roughly 1 month cost is 1.6 lakh.
1.63, yes, sir.
Okay, and you don't have that like you take for this month and then you give free as any.
No, sir. You patient purchase initially one strip, then he follows some guideline, and then company send it 2 strip free. Then after it is repeated on month basis, and patient have to submit free empty strip to the empty strip to the company.
Okay, but those who are paying from reimbursement, they will be charged full, right?
Yes, sir.
So that will be roughly 4.2 lakhs.
Yes, sir.
4.8 lakhs.
Sir, for the CGJ patient and for the Tata, sir, it's 3.75 lakhs per month.
Okay.
And CGJ, sir, it's providing a free of cost to all your patients. CGJ, ESI, and ECHS patients, sir.
So this one strip and 2 strip free is a BPL scheme, or it is for all patients?
Sir,
for all
the
cash patients.
Yeah, for all the patients.